Namaste friends, my name is Utpal Pathak and I am going to discuss fourth chart of Sri Narendra Modi. This is my first Jyotish session on a video. I have written quite a few articles on politics of respect on my blog, but this is the first video recording. Please forgive me if there is a glitches. Give you a little bit of background. In my experience of 6-7 years, past 6-7 years, for writing, discussing, I have realized that the biggest pitfall is the personal data of political data, and that severely affects the assessment on election results, especially state elections. Though I have predicted quite a few state election results correctly or partially correctly, I have failed also in quite a few states, miserably failed. So, doing this experimentation, then I realized that assessment of state election results done on personal data available from different sources for political leaders, important political leaders, is a big problem. They are never reliable. I would say they are highly unreliable. To give you an example, the recent Bengal election had a couple of very known and scholarly Jyotish assessed Mamata Banerjee's chart. But then, if you just find out the details, try to go into details, you will realize that Mamata Banerjee is not correct data. So, what I'm trying to say is that you can have a correct prediction on a completely wrong chart, wrong data. This is quite possible. Student of Jyotish or practicing or who are passionate about this subject, learning the truth in this statement. So, point being that I was trying to maneuver this weakness, not using any political word data, not relying on it, some matters. But then I have almost concluded that I couldn't find any method which is results of this election. That apart, now let us talk about oath. Because I have also realized in past 6-7 years of experience that oath charts are quite reliable. Yeah, it is not for the state election prediction, but both charts are quite reliable to check of particular. Everybody is aware of both charts. If not, I will just or the prime minister oath as a chief minister or prime minister. That particular moment, we are casting the chart of it as per the Vedic Jyotish parameters. That becomes the oath chart, and this oath chart is quite reliable. I have seen that it is quite reliable too. The assessment of the oath chart can go wrong depending upon the person who is assessing it, his or her knowledge, these have her own dasha period going on. All these factors are there. So there can be mistakes, there can be wrong prediction, but both charts are very reliable. So this is the background of it. At the moment, our country is doing very, I would say, horrible time. Like we have never seen before such time, last 100 years maybe. And there is a quite a bit of resentment. So I was thinking of just checking the oath chart of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji when he and try to see there is something and what is lying in the future. So now let me start with this background. So let us start with oath chart. I have to do some technical. This thing I will share my screen in a different laptop where I have my Jyotish software and chart. Sorry for the time taken. Let's see now. Yeah. So you can see the oath chart of Narendra Modi ji on this on the screen. 30th of May 2019, 19.04 approximately. Forget about the seconds. Now you see that what is the lagna? Lagna is Vrishchik. Lagna is Vrishchik, and Guru is placed in it. The Lagna Lord is Mars in 8th power along with Rahu. Mercury and Sun are in Surya and Buddha are in 7th power. Chandra is in 5th power. Shukra is in 6th power. And Ketu Shani are placed in 2nd power. So, if you see, just by looking at it, let me first take you through the problematic area in this chart. When Modi ji took the oath, I had assessed this chart, and there is a tweet chain available on my Twitter account for my assessment. If I remember, the first thing I have written on that assessment, that who is advising Modi ji, if at all they are taking, BJP is taking the advices for the Muhurta, because as the first impression came to my mind is that this is a very bad Muhurta. Here I want to clarify one thing to you all, that the chart and the configurations are the indicative of the events which are going to unfold. So it is not that the destiny is my personal opinion, the destiny is fixed, and the grahas, the configuration, the chart would show you the destined events which are going to unfold. So if you see here, the Lagna Lord Mars is placed in 8th power. And what is association? Association is with Rahu. Mars and Rahu in 8th bhava. Any Jyotish would reject this. Any Jyotish would reject this Muhurt for anything. And this was a very important, extremely important for our country, extremely important Muhurt for our country. So I was quite distressed seeing this Muhurt. Mars Rahu forms Angarak Yog, Mars being a Lagna with a malefic Rahu, natural malefic Rahu, as well as it's a functional malefic being a, you can say, 4th lord, because some people take Kumbha Rashi as Rahu's co-loaded by Rahu. So that we do not go into the dispute whether Rahu belongs to Kumbha Rashi or not, with Shani. But then it's a functional malefic also. And it forms Angarak Yoga, which is not a good yoga. Now Mars, Mangal is also, if you see the nakshatra of Mangal, here you can see, is Ardra Nakshatra. Ardra Nakshatra is lauded by Rudra, the Rudra form of Shiv. And Ardra is like a moist, it can be said as a teardrop. So it shows that this year is going to be terrible. This tenure is going to be terrible. It's going to make the government cry, people cry. But this is again, and I am repeating this, that this is the indication of what was going to come in this tenure. It's nobody's fault. The things which are destined to happen are going to happen. So Muhurt also falls according to that. So here we can see that Mars is in Ardra Nakshatra, which is lorded by Rudra, and Ardra Nakshatra, if you say the Vimshottari lord of Ardra Nakshatra is Rahu. 8th house is the house of Ayushya Bhava. In this Ayushya Bhava, Mangal Rahu combination, Angarakyo, which is forming Angarakyo, we can straight away say that this is going to be quite terrible for our country. I would also here, I forgot in my introduction, I am also going to tell you that I have a bias towards BJP, towards Bharat, towards Narendra Modi ji. But I'm going to try my best not to bring this bias into assessment. But wanted to make it clear. Yes, I love my country, and that is why sometimes it happens that bias would be there. But I would consciously try not to bring this bias in this assessment. Yeah, so we saw that the Pratham Grase Makshika kind of thing. So we have Mars and Rahu in 8th power, which is a terrible combination. All right. Here we can see that Mars is also afflicted by the Shani's Drashti. Shani is in 2nd power, and Shani and Ketu are quite close. If you see degree wise, Shani and Ketu are quite close, and Shani is directly aspecting Mars, so they have a mutual drashti. Mangal is looking at Shani, and Shani is looking back at Mangal. So you see that 2nd and 8th axis of this chart has a predominance of natural malefic, Shani, Ketu, Mangal, Rahu. And this tells us that the tenure of Modi ji is going to be a very hard working path. Let me also tell you something. When you are looking at the oath chart of a prime minister, for example, here we are looking at the Prime Minister Modi ji's chart, and he is heading our country Bharat. So always, if you superimpose this chart, especially Lagna, on our country's modern political country chart, which is Vrishabh Lagna, then you see that Vrishabh Lagna of India has Vrishchik Rashi is in the 7th bhav, sorry. 7th is a Marak bhav. And this 7th bhav is the Lagna of Modi ji's oath chart. Yeah, so that is also an indicator. So if you combine these two negatives, then you see that negative in the oath chart like Mars, Rahu, Shani, Ketu, which I told you in the 8th bhav and 2nd axis. 2nd is also a Marak bhav. And that the Lagna of oath chart is actually the Marak bhav of our political chart, India's political chart, modern political chart, then one thing comes into mind, that there is going to be a lot of loss of lives. There is going to be anarchy. There is going to be inimical forces who would result into loss of innocent lives, rioting. Reason could be rioting, because Mars and Rahu are the rioting could be the result, could be the reason. Now we are already aware that pandemic is also is the prime reason where we have lost a lot of lives, and it is still continuing. Then there was a Delhi riots after CA and Shaheen Bagh and all these things. Then we saw recently uh, lives lost, innocent life lost in Bengal after election results. And then we have also the so-called farmer protest going on. So you see this kind of agitations, lockdowns, rioting, all these things are happening, and which matches this oath chart. You can see here, because I may not be able to touch each and every point, but still I would try to take you through a lot of things here. Now, what are the other things here in this chart? You can see this. Okay, Mars Rahu is a problem. You see also here that Moon is placed in the fifth bhav. Jupiter is in the Lagna. So after checking the negative, you can also see that Navamansh, Rahu and Sun are placed together and aspected by Mars. So you see Sun, Surya, which is a king and which is very important graha in the political chart. Surya in Navamasha is afflicted by all the possible Pap graha. Rahu, Mars, Shani, Ketu. Though Mars is a Lagnesh, so that is why we can consider it the lesser effect, but if you consider it as a natural malefic, then Sun is afflicted by all this. So these are the negatives which comes across in this chart. So it is very clear that this is going to be a very difficult tenure for country, and that is why also for our Prime Minister. Let us consider the dasha also. Let us go to the dasha. For that, we have to just go in the mundane chart and we have to just compress this tenure, because normally we see that our full tenure is 5 years for Prime Minister and also the Chief Ministers. So we just we put 5 years here and put swearing in chart mode, and then we click Vimshottari Dasha here. So then this dashas are the complete Vimshottari, which is 120 years Dasha, is mapped and compressed into 5 years Dasha. Thanks to, we should thank Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao, who has painstakingly created this software and developed this software over past 15, 20 years, almost 15 years at least. And he has put all these features. That is why we can quickly use it. So heartfelt thanks to him. You see the dasha here. It was Mars dasha, because if you see here, the moon is in Revati nakshatra. So Mercury dasha, sorry. Lagna was in Anuradha nakshatra, and dasha starts from moon's nakshatra, so it's a Mercury dasha. Only little bit period was left, and then there was a Ketu period running. Then there was a Venus period running, and now Surya, Chandra are over, and we are into Mars period. In Dasha also, you can check the Char Dasha. When you combine both Vimshottari and Char Dasha, you can get a fair bit of picture. So you can just change it to Char Dasha, and then you have this period of Dasha, which are also very important. Means when you combine, as per my experience, I would do is I would combine, I would try to first see Vimshottari and then try to correlate it with Char Dasha. So you have all these Char Dasha periods also mentioned here. So now let us see the positive of Mars Rahu. I had mentioned in my assessment, which is available in the Twitter, in the tweet chain, that there is going to be 100% modification in our constitution. Constitution will be modified, 100%. So what was that? Why I said that? Why I assessed that? Because Mars Rahu is in the 12th from 9th. And if you superimpose this chart, let us check it from the Vrishab Lagna of our country, then you see that 9th lord, which can be taken as our constitution guiding principles, that is our constitution, that Saturn is in 12th from his own house, 9th bhava, and it is aspected by Maraka, Mars and Shani, Ketu and Rahu. So this shows that your constitution will be modified. There will be changes in the constitution. So these are the two configuration which made me conclude that our constitution is going to be changed. And you saw that as soon as the government came into the second tenure, in Ketu period, we had quite a impressive run. We saw that 370 was demolished and Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh were fully integrated into our country, political country. And they were made 2 UTs, Union Territories. Jammu and Kashmir is one Union Territory and Ladakh as another Union Territory. So this complete integration of Jammu Kashmir, this 370 which was like there since independence of our country, has been demolished. That was a tremendous feat, quite unexpected as well. Ketu is a marka in our chart, because if you take Ketu as a co-lord of Vrishchik, then Ketu and Mars, both marka in our original chart, had afflicted the 9th lord Saturn. If I consider the chart of our modern political India, then that shows that why Ketu period was instrumental in changing the constitution. There was also one thing, that there was also a landmark judgment came on Ram Mandir from Supreme Court. Final judgment came where the Ram Mandir judgment was given in the favor of Hindus, and we will be now getting our temple back, which was demolished by Babur maybe 350 years ago, would be rebuilt now. It's already started. So this also came in the Ketu period. Why should it come in Ketu period? Because Ketu is signifies sudden development, extremely sudden development. You see here, in the same period, it was 370 was demolished, and then maybe the Dasha period here. I would also point it out one thing here, that I am experimenting with Dasha period in the oath chart, because there are few doubts in my mind whether how I would take it. For example, here in the mundane chart, whether I should add some days here to match this final date to the end of tenure. But then I'm experimenting, but this looks fine to me at the moment. All right. So you see here, if you check, the Rashi Dasha, uh, Libra was running. I'm not sure when it was when this was done. This Ram Mandir judgment came. Just a moment. If I give me a second. Anyways, at the moment I'm not finding it. I think it was September 9/9 or 9 yeah 9/9 I think was the date. So which came in Scorpio itself. Anyways, let us go ahead in this case. Jupiter. Now, what is the positive? What are the positives in this chart? So, one positive, I told you that Mars and Rahu, they are going to change the constitution, and we need quite a few constitution changes. One was, of course, which was in everybody's mind and wish, was this 370, and that was demolished. Then we had a Ram Mandir judgment. That was not a constitution change, but it was a major judgment. And then we had also CAA. So all this, whatever big changes are going to come, especially which is affecting the constitution, are going to come by Mars Rahu combination and Saturn Ketu influence, as well as Guru. Now I have not touched upon the important positive parts here, positive configurations here. If you see, one of the important positive configuration is Guru in Lagna. Now, Guru is, as a fifth lord and second lord in Lagna, is a huge positive. Guru gets Digpal in Lagna. He is a friend of Mangal. He is a natural Shubh Graha, a very important Graha. And when it is placed in Lagna, it will save the chart from most calamities. So the calamity of Mars now being in 8th is being counterbalanced by Guru in a great way. The same Guru is also aspecting the 10th Lord Surya, placed in 7th Bhava, 9th Bhava, and 9th Lord Chandra. So there was when I did the assessment of this chart, as soon as Modi ji took those, I think same day or next day, maybe in 1 or 2 days, I don't remember. I had also in the same tweet chain, I had said that Ram Mandir judgment would definitely come in our favor in this tenure. This has also happened. Why I said that? Because of this Guru Chandra and Surya. Guru is in Lagna as a 5th Lord, aspecting the 9th Bhava and 9th Lord. 9th Lord being Moon being placed in 5th Bhava. You know, Bhavat Bhavam principle means 5th is a 9th from 9th and 9th is a 5th from 5th. So both this Lakshmi Sthana. So Chandra is very, very well placed as a 9th Lord in 5th Bhava and aspected by 5th Lord Guru, who is placed in Digbala in Lagna. Now this is fortifying our 9th Bhava. 9th Bhava is Dharma, temple, Mandir. Guru, guider, mentor, father. But here in the oath chart, we have to accordingly check it out. So Mandir, Dharma are going to be fortified. There will be something which, wherein this aspect, a great development will happen. That is quite obvious here. And also, Sun is the Karaka of Mandir, temple. That is also aspected by Guru. So Guru is positively influencing the 9th Bhava and the temple, Karaka of temple Sun. So that is why I had no doubt in declaring that Ram Mandir judgment would be delivered in our favor, complete favor, and that has happened. So this was the rationale. If you see here now, so this is another positive points I told you about this chart. If I go to the Dasha period, you see that after Ketu was over, then there was a period of Venus, and Venus was the period where all this CA, Shine Bagh, Delhi riots, Kejriwal coming to the third tenure with a landslide victory, and then Delhi riots immediately happening, innocent people losing lives, and there was a lot of unrest happened in the country. Then there was a pandemic struck. You know, the pandemic struck which coincided with that 25th and 26th December 2019 configuration of grahas in the sky, where Dhanu Rashi was completely loaded with 6 grahas. So this is where the pandemic came to light and started affecting the world over. So for us, this all happened. If you see Modi's oath chart, it all happened in Venus period. And you see Venus, how Venus is placed. What is Venus here in this chart? Venus is a Maraka, being a 7th Bhava Lord. You know that in Vedic astrology, 2nd Bhava and 7th Bhava Lord, others as Marak Bhava. Why they are Marak Bhava? They are Marak Bhava because let me give you this technical details. 8th Bhava is Ayushya Bhava of a chart and longevity.
And there is a Bhavot Bhavam principle. So if you see Bhavot Bhavam principle, 8 from 8. So if you see 8th Bhava from 8th Bhava, then it will be 3rd Bhava. So 3rd Bhava is a secondary Ayushya Bhava. 8th Bhava is a primary Ayushya Bhava, main Ayushya Bhava, and 8 from 8, that is 3rd Bhava, is a secondary Ayushya Bhava. Now, the loss of Ayushya, if you see, then loss of Ayushya, which curtails your longevity, chart's longevity, is 12th from, because 12th is a bhava of losses. So 12th from 8th bhava, which curtails the longevity, is 7th bhava. And 12th from the secondary Ayushya bhava, that is 3rd bhava, is 2nd bhava. So that is why 7th and 2nd are considered as also the Marak bhavas, because they are curtailing the longevity of the main primary 8 bhava and the second and third bhava. So this is a rationale, this is a logic behind why 2nd and 7th are called as the Marak. So here the Venus is Marak Lord, and it is also the 12th Lord of losses, and 7th bhava, so Marak bhava. We are not talking about the other aspect like as partners and spouse and other things, because this is a whole chart. So both charts we have to see as per the domain of the whole chart. So here the Venus in 6th power. Venus doesn't like 6th power. Venus is sad in 6th power because Venus it is not a bhava of Venus liking. Because 6th bhava is a 12th from the 7th bhava. 7th bhava is for the spouse, marriage, and the desires. And Venus is basically the desire, the pleasures, and significator of the desires. And when it comes to the bhava, which is loss of desire, and 6th bhava, then it doesn't enjoy these bhavas. People also give it as a marana karaka sthana. There is every graha has a marana karaka sthana. Like moon is in 8th is a marana karaka sthana. Guru in 3rd, Shani in Lagna, Surya in 12th. Same way Venus is in 6th bhava is a marana karaka sthana. So yes, it is not afflicted directly by any papa graha, but it is in a 6th bhava, which is also the enemies, litigations, enemies, overt enemies, and it is the lord of 12th, so overt enemies. So it basically signifies the enemies and the troubles, being the 7th lord and 12th lord. Now you see this Venus we had the troubles started, though we had a 6 months, extraordinary 6 months with 370 and Ram Mandir judgment and CAA, but then after CAA there was a definite trouble started. First with this riots, Shine Bagh and riots, and then the pandemic. So Venus troubled us. It affected our economy drastically because it's the 12th lord of this chart, afflicted in 6th bhava, and the dispositor of Venus, that is Mars, is again in the 8th bhava. So you see that it is connecting the 6th bhava. Venus is connecting 8th bhava. So 7th lord is connecting, 7th and 12th lord is connecting to 8th bhava as a dispositor. So again, we see that there are loss of lives and troubles to our economy. You had a lockdown there, and economy really went down. Pandemic struck. People lost their lives in riots and in pandemic. The first wave of pandemic, Chinese virus, I would say. This has happened in Venus. If you see here in the Rashi Dasha, if there is something matching, you see here, it is like approximately, it's quite coincidence. that Libra was running, which is again the 12th bhava. And we had 12th bhava Rashi running on the Chardasha and subsequently Venus Dasha also. So let us go fast forward. Venus, then Sun, and then Moon. And then Mars. Now Mars Dasha, if you see Mars Dasha on Vimshottari, which is now started running since April. If you see Chardasha, coincide with Chardasha, then Gemini. Now we are like seeing the period. You know here? Gemini, what is Gemini? Gemini is holding Mars and Rahu. We already enough discussed about it. And if you see Vimshottari Dasha, also we have started Mars Dasha. Now the second wave, which is playing havoc in our country. I'm not talking about the world over, but let us focus on our country here. Mars Dasha, where the death rate has exponentially increased. And this shows in the chart. We have now around 3,000 plus people are dying every day. Thousands of people getting, tens of thousands of people getting afflicted with this Chinese virus. And we are in the Mars Dasha period of this whole chart. So imagine the stress on the Prime Minister, who is signified, who is indicated by Mars and Guru, because Guru being in Lagna and Mars the Lagna Lord. It is also indicated by the Gemini. So Gemini, which started in January, late January, 20 January to 2021, and still running, and will be running till October. You see that as soon as Gemini Dasha struck, the second wave unexpectedly started like a tsunami. Before that, okay, I will just touch upon the moon period where we could sun and moon period where we could invest in vaccines and we could start manufacturing a vaccine. It was successful, and then we started vaccination as well as we started helping the world because you say moon is very powerful and sun is also very well placed, expected by Guru. So Sanjeevani, you say moon is Sanjeevani and like a life giver, sun and moon both. So that was the period where we had a little bit better time, and fortunately we invested. Our Prime Minister pushed for the vaccine, indigenous vaccine, and then which is now helping us. So okay, let us touching these points. Let us come back to Mars. Here you see that when the second wave apparently started, though there will be seeds of it, but apparently started. Second wave started. If you see the transit is always important. As soon as Rahu started its transit from Vrishabh, which is also Lagna of our modern political chart of country, the trouble started. Traditionally, whenever Rahu transits Vrishabh, we have quite huge troubles. Like 2002 last time when Godhra happened, and then Gujarat riots, and then all this rest is known to everybody. Then 1947, when we got independence, Rahu was in Lagna, and then we know the aftermath of it, of the partition. And if you see 1984, and this, if the interested people can see that. So similarly, Rahu once started coming here, the troubles of the second wave started. And actually, the troubles went exponentially out of control when Mars and Rahu came together quite near in transit around I think third week of March, and then we had a graph shoot up. The second pandemic wave shot up. So you see the transit and how you can correlate, how you can judge events on Dasha and transit, of course, based on the chart. And also when you are discussing both chart, you can how you can take the help of the superimposition of these grahas into on our country's political chart. So Mars period, yes, as it shows, Mars period started troubling us. Here, one more thing I wanted to mention, the positive of Mars. When Mars as a Lagna Lord is in 8th power, the Prime Minister and the government machinery works very, very hard. They work extremely hard, untiringly. That's one important aspect of it. Now, what do you think? What would happen now? Because after Mars, there is a Rahu period, which will be running from August to next May, and then there is a Rashi Dasha, as you said. Gemini is going to run till October, and then there is a Taurus period. We have seen that as soon as the second wave started, there is a lot of pressure came on our Prime Minister, who is a focal point here in this chart. You see that people, there is also a terrible diss campaign, I would say, that to discredit personally the Prime Minister for the so-called failure of this. Though we know that this pandemic is tremendously hard and it has created havoc all over the world. Prime Minister has done a lot, he is doing a lot, but then there are vested interest and media and all these people who would try their best. And then there are hidden enemies, covert enemies, all these people would try their best to discredit him, and they are also successful at some point, at some degree. Media here signified by Mercury as always, and Mercury being the 8th Lord in 7th, aspecting Lagna, so there is a role of media also here in the campaigning against Prime Minister and the government, and actually against India also, our country also. They want to discredit government, country, people, everybody. All right, so at the presently people are quite afraid. There is a wave, tsunamical wave, which is taking lives. But then at the same time, there is a tremendous push for oxygen, getting self-sufficient with medical oxygen, the stock of oxygen, as well as the vaccination. You can see the fortune, how fortunate we were that we invested in vaccination. Those vaccination is now helping us. Otherwise, we would be depending upon, solely depending upon foreign vaccination like Pfizer and Chinese and other vaccines. And we would have probably had to endure a very big cost, very high cost, probably also the security, at the cost of our security. Because if we see the Pfizer's terms and condition, you will come to know. Anyway, so that was a very fortunate thing that in Moon and Sun, our Prime Minister decided to push for our own vaccines, which is ultimately going to make us win against this Chinese pandemic, Chinese virus. Coming back to the point here, so Marx is creating the troubles simultaneously. Gemini Mahadasha, Chara Mahadasha, which is holding Mars and Rahu. Now, why do you think that Prime Minister has come in such a trouble, such a pressure? So he is not saying anything. He is just focused on his work. He is focused on handling and managing this pandemic. Because Mars, as I told you, is in the 8th power. There is Rahu's transit also. You can take it here. The 10th Lord Sun, the position of power, is at 14 degree 45 minutes in Taurus. Now you see here, let us see the Rahu's degree at the moment, 1746. You know, Rahu walks backward, moves backward always. So now it is very close over Sun, over the Sun of this chart. And if you check the date, around August, first week, it will be exactly, Rahu would be exactly on the Sun. So around August, July mid to August. Even then, Rahu is now going towards Sun, and you see that Modi ji is coming in under pressure. See how beautifully it correlates. Also, if I take you back to 2002, when Rahu entered Vrishabh, I think on the same day, Godhra happened. And the riots started in Gujarat. Modi ji was chief minister. He had become just chief minister a few months ago, already handling terrible aftermath of earthquake in Gujarat. And then he was just recovered and this Godhra happened as soon as Rahu started in Vrishabh Rashi. And you know that the Vrishabh Rashi movement of Rahu and how much he was troubled. He was made like a demonic figure all over the world. But he endured all these insults and pressures and demonization by media, by international media, even by governments. He endured all this pressure and came out victorious. Now fast forward to the current scenario, Rahu is again in Vrishabh. Rahu has entered Vrishabh and he is almost in the same state, where pandemic is raging, pandemic is taking lives, and the same forces who troubled him back in 2002, 3, 4, they have started troubling him now also. So you can see how these grahas are indicating the troubles for Prime Minister and our country. India was given bad name there, then Bharat was given bad name then in 2003 as an intolerant country. We are also getting bad name now with some other aspect. Not only intolerant, but also we are in a shambles and we don't have the enough medical means. Our medical infrastructure is crumbling and not adequate. Though if you see the ratio of death in pandemic, we are much lower. I would touch upon one more thing here, that Chinese aggression during our pandemic time was effectively handled. And Chinese were pushed back. And they had to eat humble pie because we were also running at the time moon and sun dashas. If you see here, sun and moon dashas. Earlier part of moon and the complete sun dasha. Here also see, sun dasha was and moon dasha was coinciding with Leo and Cancer. So again, sun and moon. So why sun and moon gave us the victory? I mean, Chinese couldn't do anything is because sun and moon are very powerful. I will tell you because there is one very important point which I haven't touched upon yet. Anyway, so you see that how Modi ji is under tremendous pressure. Let me tell you also why there is because every negative will have some positive. So Mars Rahu, what is another positive with Mars Rahu? They are negative, yes, they are negative and it is showing up in the deaths happening in our country. Mars Rahu combination is placed in 6th from Arudha Lagna. I wouldn't go into the details of Arudha Lagna because it will be too long. Arudha Lagna is our perceived self of this chart. So when Mars and Rahu are 6th in Arudha Lagna, the focal part of the chart, the person, government in the chart would put in tremendous fight back, tremendous hard work. They will rise to the occasion. Mars Rahu is indicating the trouble, humongous trouble, and same Mars Rahu, because they are placed in 6th from Arudha Lagna, it is also showing the other side of the coin, that is huge fight back, huge hard work, rise to the occasion of the Prime Minister and the team, the government. So that is also one point which we have to remember. So you see that Mars Dasha is running. Also the Mithun Dasha, that is Gemini, which is indicating tremendous trouble for us at the moment, and at the same time, the government, the Prime Minister is completely focused on solving this issue, handling this issue, overcoming this trouble. Had this Mars Rahu, for example, just for the sake of example, if this Mars Rahu were in 12th from Arudha Lagna or 8th from Arudha Lagna or 7th from Arudha Lagna, our government would have crumbled. Means they would not have the zeal, the power to fight back. They would have surrendered. But because this combination is placed in 6th of Arudha Lagna, our government is fighting hard to overcome this. There is one more point I want to touch upon here, is that I had written an article probably in last September, where I had shown, where I have indicated that I can show it here also to you. For example, let me show. tension, I think, yeah, September 2nd. Let me show you. Let me, I can zoom here. Zoom. Yeah. So here I had indicated some period of tensions with China, and in that somewhere I have mentioned, yes, this is the one. I have mentioned that there is almost inevitability from Chinese, danger from China from February to July 2021. This was arrived from assessing the earlier wars which was thrust on us. 1917, one with Pakistan, 1962 with China. So, and other wars. So, like I had checked 3 or 4 wars, and on that basis, I have come to conclusion that February to July would be a real danger period. I have said almost inevitability. Let's come back. You see here that this pandemic, second wave of pandemic has started from February and March month, which is the same period which I had indicated. And now we are hearing the strong suspicions and articles and murmurs that Chinese virus, this COVID-19, may have actually developed in Wuhan laboratory. There are so many other reasons also which indicates that this could be a biological war unleashed by China on the world, and specifically India, who is the biggest adversary of China after US. So yes, here you can see that this could well be, we do not know yet, but I have a strong feeling based on Jyotish Shastra that the second raging wave is highly likely that it is a biological war unleashed on us. Why I say so? Because I have another reason also. Because if I check, I take Makar Lagna of China's chart, which is quite matching. 2019 December combination, December 25th, 25, 26, 2019 combination happened in the 12th bhava of China. And I have seen the chart of current tenure of President Xi Jinping, and that also indicates, corroborates this understanding, this assumption. Okay, so this point I want, so I am not surprised actually. What I have written in my article in September, which I showed you, this could well be the China's warfare. A different methodology, first time tested maybe in the world, and we are facing it. Anyways, so what lies? Now we are in, I have seen, I have been on Twitter, and I know that people are really worried. What is going to happen? We have seen that our opposition parties are like, I would not name it at the moment, but they are like behaving like enemies. Rather than supporting the efforts of government and people to contain this pandemic and to win over this pandemic, they are actually taking the opposite line. They first casted the doubts on vaccination, our own vaccines. Quite a few people got affected and influenced by that, and then now they come out with all the other tantrums. Okay, I don't want to go into that part of it. It's a little outside of the purview of our session here. So Now, what will happen? Would Modi ji survive and able to keep his tremendous popularity intact, or this government would not able to recover from this break-breaking, break, back-breaking tragedy? How you will, how you can assess from this chart? Can we do that? So you see, where is the light? Do we see any light from the present darkness? Guru, you can see Guru is a light. Now let me tell you the most important part of this chart. As I highly criticized this Muhurt at the beginning, let me tell you the hidden blessings of this chart. This chart has received. I have never come across such a chart where Lagna, Moon and Sun, the three tripods of any chart, the three most important reference of any chart, all three are Vargottam strength. With Vargottam strength. You see here, Vrishchik Lagna, take Lagna first. In Rashi chart, Lagna is Vrishchik. In Namansha also, Lagna is Vrishchik. Moon in Rashi chart is in Meena Rashi. In Namansha also in Meena Rashi. Sun in Vrishabh Rashi. Sun in Namansha is also in Vrishabh Rashi. So Lagna, Moon and Sun, all the three are Vargottam. They are not only Vargottam Rashi wise, they are also Vargottam Bhava wise. Moon is in 5th Bhava of Rashi chart and in Namansha also 5th Bhava. Sun is in 7th Bhava, Namansha also in 7th Bhava. Lagna, because Lagna is Vargottam, that is why Moon and Sun also becomes Bhava Vargottam. So this is a tremendous positive point which can overcome all the negatives. So I have zero hesitation in saying this. Moon is unafflicted. Forget about the Rashi aspect, but otherwise Graha aspect, if you see, Moon is unafflicted. In Rashi chart, also in Namansha chart. In Namansha chart, Moon also gets the blessings of Guru. Rashi chart also it gets, Namansha, Moon is blessed with Guru. Moon is a very, very important Graha in any chart. Specifically this oath chart of a democratic setup, of a democratic leader. Non-affliction of Moon is a huge blessings. So now, with this positives, we have to just wait for our time. We are in trouble. We are in huge trouble. But at the same time, we are also pushing to overcome this trouble. As I said, Mars Rahu in 6th from Arudha Lagna. And Mars in 8th Bhava shows the efforts which the Prime Minister and government will put in. And Guru in Lagna, the blessed Guru, the powerful Guru in Lagna, who is in getting the Nomasa strength of own Bhava, own house, own Rashi and own Bhava. So this shows that we need not worry. I feel that because Rahu in transit is pushing towards Sun, we will have troubles mounting. there will be all the demonization of our country, our prime minister, our government. The loss of lives will still happen, and prime minister's name uh, will be muddied here, and there will be a lot of pressure coming till Mars Dasha is there. Also, July August time, at the end of Mars Dasha, Rahu will be exactly on the birth sun degree, as I showed you a little while ago. Rahu will be around 14 degree, 13, 14 degree, which is over the sun. That is a period of real trouble for our prime minister. But then I would say here that we might have the old aggression of from China. We must, our prime minister and our security agencies and our defense minister must be on guard always, because there are all the possibilities that China may again show the aggression at the borders. As I said in the article which I showed you, that up to July, I feel up to July and August, I would say August also. So yes, we have a troubled period. You can see Rashi Dasha of Gemini is also till October. So I would say that at least until September, we would be in trouble. August, September, we would have troubles, various troubles, including the pandemic. So, but then we would come into a good weather. From where? From the start of, I would say that start of 22, because not only we would have passed Gemini Mahadasha and also the Mars Mahadasha and some part of Rahu, but then we will see that transit wise, Rahu would have passed Sun, and approximately in January or February 2022, Rahu would be so around March mid next year, Rahu would leave Taurus around 20 March maybe. Yeah. It will leave Taurus and come to Aries, Mesha. So Rahu, which is transiting from this Vrishabha, next year, March 20th, it will come to the 6th power. So Rahu will come to the 6th power. It will enhance governments fighting over enemies. It will make government victorious over enemies. So that would be a good transit which is coming next year, March. By the time we will be also at the end of Rahu Mahadasha, and we will be entering Guru Mahadasha. And on the Rashi Dasha period, if you see here, we would be coming into the Taurus Mahadasha. We will be in the Taurus Mahadasha. Vrishabha. Vrishabha has 10th Lord Sun, and it is aspected by Jupiter. It is also the 8th lord which is aspected by Jupiter. So Vrishabha Mahadasha, as per the Char Mahadasha scheme, would give a good results. Quite a good relief. Big relief, I would say. So, and then we have a Guru Mahadasha period and Shani Mahadasha period. Guru Mahadasha, Shani is again in the Rashi of Guru, which is very well placed, very powerfully placed. So Guru Mahadasha and Shani Mahadasha and the rest would be the period of the government bouncing back, huge bouncing back. We will come out of these troubles of pandemic. 100% we are going to come out of this trouble of pandemic once this Guru period starts. I would say before that, maybe around March, we would be out. It doesn't mean that till March we would suffer and suffer and suffer. No, it is not like that. The sufferings will start reducing after July. As soon as the Rahu in the transit crosses over the sun, that period would be the peak of the testing period for government, for the Prime Minister Modi ji, and for the country. And then after Rahu crosses sun by a few degrees, and that would be. So I would imagine September onwards the things would mellow down. The troubles graph of troubles should start decreasing. But then we would be out, and the government would be in commanding position. Prime Minister would start speaking. He is now completely busy in handling this crisis, and he would come back to his mojo from next year around March. From then on, that will be only the rising of our country. So yes, we are. If I would conclude here, it was quite a long session. This is my first experience, so excuse me because I just got involved into this chart. Though I haven't yet spoken quite a few things, but then it would be too much. It would be too lengthy. In summary, I would say that there is no need to panic. Yes, the present situation is extremely bad. It is a Himalayan trouble which has befallen upon us as a country. But be sure that we will come out of this. And I have given you good reasons why we will come out of it. The Prime Minister is at the job. I am sure about it. I have no doubt. They are fighting back. And they will overcome this pandemic and the inimical forces. Because of the strength of Guru, because of the strength of Vargottam Lagna, Chandra and Surya. Surya is being 10th Lord. And because of the strength of Mars and Rahu placed in 6th from Arudhara. So these are the big strengths which will give us the power, which will give the power to this government, the Prime Minister, because we are essentially seeing the oath chart of Prime Minister. Almost the same oath chart is for also the Home Minister. So yes, they are at their job and they would overcome this struggles. And as a country, we will also overcome this struggle. Life will be lost. Yes, life will be lost. We cannot help it because Mars Rahu, and this is something which has come like once in 100 years. We have never seen something like this except this partition time riots. So the trouble is unprecedented, and we are fortunate to have this current Prime Minister and the government who is capable, who thinks about country and the people. and they are doing their best to overcome the situation. So in conclusion, I would say that people need not worry. Just hold your horses, hold your heart, hold your nerves. In this pandemic time, recite Devi Kavach every day. Pray for Divine Mother to help you, to protect you and family. Try to be safe. Try to adhere to all the do's and don'ts of uh, this pandemic. Try to make yourself and your family safe. If everybody does that, then eventually the whole country will come out of this. With this, I will just conclude this session. Thank you very much for being with me for this good 1.5 hours almost. Om Namah Shivaya.